We're now being joined by Professor James D.J. Brown from Tokyo. He's an expert in international affairs and professor of political science at the Temple University. Welcome to the broadcast, Professor.
Thank you.
I want to first seek your perspective as to how do you assess these visits by the Chinese leader Xi Jinping to Moscow and at the same time a surprise visit by the Japanese leader to Kyiv. What are the optics of these two leaders having these visits at the same time?
Well, what this very much shows is that the two countries have chosen sides in this conflict. From the Japanese point of view, Kishida's visit to Kyiv is a clear demonstration of the Japanese government's very strong support for the Ukrainian government. On the other side, even though the Chinese Communist Party says that they are impartial in this conflict, that's clearly not the case. Really, what the trip demonstrates is Xi Jinping's strong backing for Putin, who he described as a dear friend, and the strong economic ties between those two countries. So what we see in Asia is a clear divide in terms of backing the different sides in this conflict.
Right. Professor, also talking about the joint statement issued by Russia and China. Now, both the countries have issued a statement which clearly says that there are no winners in a nuclear war. But if we go a few weeks back, Putin had mailed a veiled nuclear threat, which could be used in the ongoing war in Ukraine. So is the latest statement a climb down from Putin's earlier stated position, or do you think it has happened because Beijing has now intervened in the ongoing war in Ukraine?
I think since the start of the invasion, we've seen consistently these twin messages, these contradictory messages from Moscow. On the one hand, they continue to say, oh no, we're very much against kind of nuclear conflict. But then only a few days later, you'll hear a very thinly veiled use of language which seeks to intimidate Ukraine with nuclear weapons. So I don't see that as being new. We've had those twin kind of messages for some time now.
Right, absolutely. Also, during the three-day visit, there was a lot of bonhomie between the Chinese president and his Russian counterpart. They called each other dear friends. But do you think that this partnership between Moscow and Beijing is that of equals at the moment?
No, it's not. It's become, it was unbalanced in China's favor before the start of Russia's invasion. But as Russia has become more isolated, as its economy has become weaker under sanctions, its dependence upon China has become much greater. So we now very much have an unbalanced relationship with Russia increasingly reliant on Beijing.
Right. And again, during the meet, the Chinese president clearly said that Beijing has an impartial stance on the conflict in Ukraine, but it has till now not condemned Russia's invasion of Ukraine. In a scenario like this, how much credibility does China even have as a mediator?
Well, frankly, I don't think it has much credibility at all. They talk about the peace plan, but if you have a look at that peace plan, it's vacuous. There's no real substance to this. And also, if the Russian side were to be serious about wanting peace, they can have peace whenever they want by simply stopping their attacks on Ukraine and withdrawing their forces from Ukrainian territory. So I don't see China as an impartial actor here, not as a credible mediator, but rather as Russia's principal backer.
Right. Thank you so much, Professor, for joining us on this hour and sharing your insights with us. Thanks very much.
Thank you.